Now, we're moving on to the next slide. We will be discussing the sources of power. What did I say? The sources of power. Now, we all know that there are 4 forms of power. Now, these forms of power come from a certain source. They are acquired through something. Now, that is where we're going to be discussing the sources of power. There are 5 major sources of power. We have the Constitution, through inheritance, position of authority, through coercion, and through the use of charisma. I'll take that again. We have the Constitution, through inheritance, through position of authority, through coercion, and through the use of charisma. Now let's go into details what each of these sources of power mean. The Constitution. The supremacy of the Constitution makes it authoritative for the electorate to exercise political authority through the ballot boxes. Now, in modern democracy, there is what we call the Constitution. The Constitution has in its content the rules and regulations of each of the arms and organs of government. Now, the Constitution states that the electorate has some certain power during elections or during electoral processes. In modern democracy, the Constitution is very, very important. That's why we have the saying, no one is above the law, because the Constitution has in its content the written rules and regulations that guides the activities of every individual. The second source of power is through inheritance. I'm sure that we are very familiar with what this entails. This kind of source is a common means of acquiring traditional power. We're seeing the likes of an Oba, an Eze, an Emir of Kano passing on their title to their offspring. Now, this power is usually inherited. There is a line. It doesn't go outside relatives or family members. Now, we'll move on to the third source of power. We have through position of authority. One position of authority can confirm certain elements of power in a person, and that is correct. You know that in an organization, we have the managing director, we have the sales manager, we have the recruiters personnel. Now, each of these people have certain power bestowed upon them, and this power gives them the ability to influence some decisions in the organization. Before, we have through coercion. Power can be obtained through the use of force, especially in the military. I think I've made this very clear in our last class when I discussed about the coup d'etat, when there's a forceful takeover of government. Now, coercion has to do with force. You're compelling, you're using threats, and you're taking the will of people by force. Now, that is what coercion means. The fifth source of power is the use of charisma. Many people acquire power through the personal influence and capacity to inspire devotion and enthusiasm. Charismatic attribute goes with persuasion. Now, you've heard of this phrase, leaders are born. A lot of people have charismatic attributes. They're just born with leadership roles and born with that ability to enforce and give rules, and people will follow. And this might be due to the way they carry themselves and just the way they present themselves. Yeah. So I'm sure that we're all familiar with the source of power, and there are 5 in number. Can we recollect or can we say it together? We have the Constitution as the first source of power, through inheritance as the second, position of authority, through coercion, and the use of charisma. That is all we have for you on source of power. In our next topic, we'll be discussing authority. In the meantime, don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms at LearnCityNG. You should also click and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you and have a great day.